Alright guys, so today we are going to be talking about Firebase Z, the new Call of Duty Cold War zombie map that came out, but something I want to address first is for the people who maybe can't figure out how to play it. So go ahead and skip ahead a bit and I'll put a timestamp on screen of where the review actually starts. For those of you that are having problems with not being able to install the game, or your zombie is just not working at all, it's saying that you have partial download, whatever your problem is, right? First thing, again, my last video addresses all of these problems, right? All of the steps you should go through before you completely uninstall your game, because this is a large game, 150 some gigabytes, so it's a lot of commitment, especially if you don't have great internet. That's practically going to take you all day. So again, some of the steps you should go through before you completely uninstall the game. You know, I don't know how this works on PlayStation or PC, but on Xbox, go into your managed games, make sure you have all of these content packs installed. If that doesn't work, you can go ahead and uninstall, reinstall the zombies pack from that menu, see if that works. That gets your game fixing. If that doesn't work, go ahead and go into Cold War and back to the main menu. You can press right stick on Xbox to go into your files. You can try uninstalling or installing zombies from here. And then if this doesn't work, I just punched my computer. If this doesn't work, then you're going to want to go ahead and uninstall the game. Now, again, that is a very long process, but it is what worked for me, so I just wanted to address that first. So let's go ahead and talk about the actual map and break everything down, how I feel about it. And this is going to be based on the thumbnail or the title or whatever I decide to do, a partial review or a review in progress or first impressions, again, depending on whatever I decide to call it. And that's because the main Easter egg isn't out yet at the time of me recording this video. By the time you guys see this, it'll probably be out, and I'll be working on the final review, the next part of this video, including that Easter egg, but at the time of recording this, it's not out yet. It's day one, this just came out. And so, again, that is a big part of it. The Easter egg on the last map was pretty cool. It's not my favorite, but it is something pretty cool, and it's different from the original Cold War map. I kind of had a wave survival type thing where they just threw a bunch of enemies at you, and this map kind of uses a different approach, the classic Easter egg approach, where it has a big boss, or at least that's what it's been leaked to be. But let's talk about what's actually here now. And so I think this map gets a lot of things right. It gets a couple of things wrong, but let's focus on what it does right. So for the most part, the map design I like a lot. This Firebase part, it's very simple, very easy in Call of Duty multiplayer type layout, right? You have a left lane, a middle lane, and a right lane, right? You have a perk on each lane, and then a center area. I like that a lot. It's super simplistic, keeps things super easy to navigate, and does have these tight, choke holds and bottlenecks where you can get stuck on and get swarmed by zombies like they always have. But for the most part, it's a very open, and the map flows really well, in my opinion, this part of it, right? Now, the first part of the map, where you're in kind of the town in Vietnam from the campaign, that's the part I'm iffy on with the map design. I don't think that needs to be there, right? All they use that for is an introduction area. Quick Revive is there. Part of getting the Wonder Weapon is there, and then Pack-a-Punch is there. Right? I think all of those things could have been put on this Firebase part of the map. Really, you needed 2, maybe 3 more rooms, and there's some pretty empty rooms within the Firebase, so they could have fit it here. I just think they wanted to have a portal to go back and forth, because that's kind of their thing that they did in the last map. They do it in practically every zombies map, where you have some kind of teleportation. So that's my only nitpicking with the map design itself. So one of the other things that a lot of zombie fans like is kind of the Easter egg segment, which again, that isn't exactly here yet, but what is there to do on this map as of right now, right? So the 2 primary things, other than just surviving, obviously, that you can do is this first initial area where you have to run around and fill up generators, essentially by killing zombies, and get the power on so that you can unlock more of the map. Nothing complicated, again, typical zombies map type stuff. The other thing, though, that the game allows you to do, there are these wave defense style type rounds, right? Typically within zombies you have a hellhound round or a boss round, stuff like that. Here the bosses, at least pre-Easter egg, are just integrated into practically every single round, and they're a little bit easier, but they have these, defense waves, defense rounds, and in my 30, I think it was 30 round playthrough that I've done so far, I only had 2 of these events where you go to this defensive position with sandbags and miniguns, and you can get different kill streaks like napalm and cruise missile and all that stuff, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And you set up in this area, and you have to just defend. All of the zombies for the round come from directly in front of you, downhill, and they just rush uphill towards you, and you're just mowing them down, right? Very simplistic, but the atmosphere of it with the Vietnam setting, it looks really cool, and it feels really cool, especially when you call in a napalm strike and it knocks half of them out and just blowing up left and right. It's really cool. I like it a lot. My only problem with them is that they're not frequent enough, right? Like I said, I played to wave 30 and only had 2 of them. I wish maybe you had maybe 5 waves, like a hellhound type of situation, or a little bit more frequently would be nice for me. Now let's talk about the specialties, I guess, of this map, and that's the wonder weapon and the kill streaks. So again, I don't know if the original Cold War map has brought the new kill streaks to it, or if they're just exclusive to this map, but they bring in napalm, which I guessed in our latest episode of the podcast. If you haven't seen that, go watch it, plug. And within, I believe, some video for this map, I talked about there being a napalm strike. And so they add the napalm strike kill streak along with the artillery strike and the cruise missile as well. And so the napalm strike is the cheapest of the 3. Personally, I don't find this one too interesting or useful. It's 100 computers or whatever you want to call that second material, and it's okay, right? The control for calling in isn't like multiplayer where you pull up a tablet. It's more just a prompt you get on the floor and drop it, and it's iffy to use. It kind of can be 50-50 if you can get it to go the way you want it to go, but when you can get it to hit your target, it's relatively alright. Now, next at the 150, and just to get you a mindset, something to compare it to, Self-Revive and the Chopper Gunner are both 250 computers. These are relatively cheap, right? The Artillery Strike and the Cruise Missile, right? The Cruise Missile essentially gives you 3 missiles, the 2 that you shoot down when you're flying the missile, and then the 3rd actual impact of the big missile, right? And again, that one's okay. Like the Chopper Gunner, you are protected while you're on it, so that is nice. You can use it when you're getting swarmed in a corner, stuff like that. It'll wipe out a large area of enemies, but it's just those 3 quick fire missiles. You kind of have to concentrate them all in one area, or unless you're just insanely good with it and can get it across the whole map. But what I really want to talk about is the Artillery Strike. So the Artillery Strike is the meta. This is the way to go. Right, again, 150 points. It's cheap. You can probably get that just about once you get into the higher waves every single round. You'll have enough for one. And you call it, it's like the napalm strike where it doesn't pull up a iPad or anything like that. It is a marker on the floor. But this one's just a circle. You place it down, and a big old bomb comes down and blows up. But it's not just one. It's like 5, 6, 7 explosions, and it's long. It's maybe 15, 20 seconds of just explosions. So if you have a train and you call it, let's say 10 feet in front of you, you can probably take out your whole train. And it works really well. The only downside is if you're too close, you can kill yourself with it, and because it lasts while you're practically blocking off that section, that path for you to go down, because it lasts so long. But again, those are just kill streaks. They're optional type things. But let's talk about the Wonder Weapon. And personally, I liked the Wonder Weapon, how it had the 4 elements, if you want to call them that, on the last map. I thought it was interesting. And here, it's not as interesting, and it's not so much the process of getting it, and while that process is significantly shorter, right, if you know what you're doing, it can take you 5 minutes to maybe do it, and the only downside is that you do have to wait until wave 15 to be able to get this Wonder Weapon. But the last one, it was such a long process. You had to do so many things to get the 4 different elements, the 4 different variations of it. And within this version, it's just a AK type model gun with a grenade launcher that kind of has a monkey bomb system on it, not in the fact that it attracts zombies, but it kind of sucks them in and damages them as they walk by. And again, it's okay. I managed to pack-a-punch it up all the way, and my regular gun, which was just a shotgun you see me using here, pack-a-punched all the way, was better. It has a high rate of fire, it can kill quickly, but it's not the greatest thing. It's not too cool or flashy or anything like that. It's rather simple, and I think it's one of the weaker wonder weapons. And again, like I said, the process of getting it isn't anything too special. It's relatively short, and I think that's why they lock it behind that level 15 restriction, if that's what you want to call it, because if you didn't, people would be getting it in around like 4. So again, that's just personal preference. I would prefer if it was just a little bit longer, but that's just me. But let's talk about the bosses and how, again, pre-Easter egg, how they are on this map. So you have the thing that you've seen in the trailer, right? Not the big thing, but the smaller version of it. And it's alright, it's not too difficult. That's the weaker version of the boss, and I'm drawing a blank on what are they called right now. Mimics. They're called mimics. They're the small tentacle looking things that pull you up and scream in your face. And again, they're not too difficult to beat. They're the weaker version of the boss for this map. And then the stronger version, which I don't have the slightest clue what it's called, but it has like the freaking energy cannon that it shoots at you, and claw hands that can slap you with. It looks like a juggernaut. It has some plated armor. Those are a bit more difficult, and if you don't have the right weapons, they can definitely take you out relatively quickly. But again, nothing too difficult, and I'm hoping with the new Easter egg, when that gets put in by the time you guys see this video, that'll up the difficulty with bosses a bit. Again, they're going to have some kind of big giant boss at the end, but personally I think they are definitely a downgrade in difficulty from the first Cold War map. I like them in terms of just annoyance for fighting. I felt that the boss from the first map could get a bit annoying, having to wait for it to separate and then having to fight 2 of them, and that got a bit overwhelming, where I feel like these bosses are, you know, a bit easier, but there's a lot more of them, and they're in place of hellhounds, I would say. Well, there are hellhounds, and so really, again, without getting too much into it, that's pretty much all I have to say about this map. Now, I want your guys' opinion on this map, and hopefully, assuming it drops tomorrow or today for you guys, and if it's not too crazy difficult, tomorrow, Saturday for you guys, I believe the video will be out of the final big boss and the full Easter egg and all that stuff, talking about that, how I feel about that. But I just wanted to get this out quick and address the game not being able to open. But again, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if the game being broken affected you, if it didn't affect you, if that affects how you feel about the map, whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.